Hi everyone, this is FocusedSpender, and today I'm going to talk to you about building an emergency fund. So in the book Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey, his first baby step one is building an emergency fund. And he suggests in the beginning of your Total Money Makeover that you have an emergency fund of $1,000. Later on, you will build that to 3 to 6 months of your expenses, which can be anywhere for the average person, anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. So in the beginning, you're only going to have an emergency fund of $1,000. And I should say for myself, that seemed crazy. I didn't think that it was hard to have $1,000 in the bank, but I thought it was crazy. Because what if I lost my job? What am I going to do with $1,000? How am I going to pay my bills? So for me, I just really had to step out on faith that that $1,000 would be okay. And he also said that if you have like a riskier job, or if you're in a really risky situation where you know that you're about to lose your job, that you increase that emergency fund. So this is more for someone that has a more stable job, more stable income, and you know that while you can lose your job at any point, because this is America, the likelihood is pretty slim. So, building your emergency fund. For me, like I said, I've always been a saver, so I did have more money than that in the bank. And for me, all I had to do was move over $1,000 into an emergency fund. What was scary was that using this system, I then had to take all of that extra money and put it towards my debt. So that meant I no longer had a nice cushion to fall back on. I only had $1,000. And with this emergency fund, you're not going to be using your credit card, because this is now your credit card. This is your credit card that has 0% interest. If you're late with payments, no one's going to charge you a late fee, but you want to make sure that if you do use your emergency fund at any point, you're paying yourself back as soon as possible. Now, the most important thing to know about an emergency fund, if you're someone who does not have $1,000 lying around, or let's say you're someone that lives paycheck to paycheck, the most important thing to know is that you really have to build it fast, and you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get that $1,000 in the bank as soon as possible. Another thing I want to note is that the money needs to be in a highly liquid account that's easily accessible. Not so accessible that you're going to run to the ATM anytime you see a new pair of shoes on sale, but if something serious happens, you'll be able to get that money really quickly, so you're not tempted to use a credit card. At this point, if you're on the Total Money Makeover, you shouldn't even be using your credit cards. Your credit cards should be far, far, far away, so that you're not getting into any more debt. So, things that you can do to save $1,000 quickly if you are in need of, if you don't have the money to save to move over into an account. You can have a garage sale. That sounded like a joke to me when I read it in the book, because I live in the city. I don't have a garage. I don't have an outdoor space to have anyone come and buy my things. So what I thought about doing at some point was selling some things on eBay. I haven't done it because I'm kind of, I'm not distrustful of eBay at all, because I have bought things from eBay. I'm just a little worried that if I put my things on eBay, no one's going to purchase it. And I honestly don't have that many things that I want to sell. But if you are a shopper, and that's why you're in need of a Total Money Makeover, you probably have lots and lots of goodies with tags on it that can be sold. And you can open up your own little eBay store to get money in quickly. Another thing that you can do is just find another side hustle. For me, I started tutoring. I found a program that allowed me to tutor kids. For them, the program was free, so it was not hard to get people into the program. But then I got paid $15 an hour to tutor these kids. And I worked about maybe 3 or 4 hours a week. and I was able to put all that money into my bank account. And since I already had my emergency fund, that just went to my debt. And because I still wanted to have a life, all the little things that I had cut out, I was able to kind of use the money from tutoring to purchase those items. Another thing that you can do if you want to build your emergency fund and you do not want to sell your things on eBay or at a garage sale, and you do not have time to get a part-time job, is to create a budget and to really get serious about your spending and your spending habits. So first you would need to take a look at how you spent your money in the last 3 months. You can just go through your online bank account and see the stores that you spent at, how much you're spending. Are you constantly going to Starbucks? Are you constantly going to McDonald's, like wherever, to the mall? Or are you constantly withdrawing cash? A lot of times you're withdrawing cash. I know for me personally, I carry about $20 on me at any given time, maybe 40 if I'm going to go out that night, but I usually don't have a lot of money on me because I know when I have cash, I spend it really, really quickly. I never know what I spent it on. I always think I have more money, and then I open my wallet and there's no money. So you really have to take a look at how you're spending and what it is you need to be spending on. And from there, once you decide how much you're going to spend, you pretty much need to, however you can, control that for the month. For me, I have a separate checking account that I only put a few $100s on every single time I get paid. So when I see it running low, then I know I need to slow down. There's no more money in the account because it's all put away. I've used it to pay bills. It doesn't exist anymore. So you have to figure out how you're going to control your spending so that you can take your extra money and put it towards your emergency fund. If you are you're in the beginning of working yourself out of debt and you're paying a little extra on your credit cards, for that month or two that you're building that fund, you're just going to pay your minimum so that you can just get yourself back on track. The most important thing to remember when you do have this emergency fund is that if you get in a bind and you do use it, you need to pay yourself back immediately. Like I said, it is like a 100 interest-free credit card. So if you're a little late with paying yourself back, you don't have to worry about late fees or penalties like you would with a credit card, but you still should think of it as a credit card because it's there for emergencies. A lot of people use credit cards for emergencies because they say, oh, well, I'll just have it just in case. But what if you lose your job and you start using your credit card? The next month, you can't pay your bills because it's going to be too high. So, use your emergency fund instead. I do want to stress one thing. If it's going to take you 5 and 6 months just to save $1,000 when you begin your Total Money Makeover, you're probably not that serious about doing this. You really have to get serious. You have to get intense. You have to say, I am tired, or you have to feel it. You have to feel that you are tired of living your life in debt, paycheck to paycheck. You're not doing the things that you want to do with your life because you're spending it on your bills. So once you're focused and you decide enough is enough, finding that $1,000 is not that hard. It really isn't. And like I said, if it takes getting a part-time job, if you have an hourly job where you can work overtime, if it takes that, go ahead and do it. If you have to sell some things, go ahead and do it. If you have to really tighten up your budget to do it, go ahead and do it. Because honestly, once it's time to start paying off your debt and your debt snowball, those are the things that you have to do. So you have to get focused in the beginning. And once you're focused, honestly, it's really easy. As long as you have a job, and you can get really creative with your money, it's not as hard as it sounds. 3 to 6 months, that's hard. $1,000, it's not that hard. So I encourage everyone to start today and figure out how they can get $1,000 to start their emergency fund. Thank you. Good night.